Mr. Greeley, in your testimony, you indicated you had a 504 SBA loan. Can you, I assume you've been satisfied with that. Can you see some places where we could streamline the program, improve the program? What's your experience been?
I originally took that loan out in 1997. I was 27 years old, and it was difficult. I went to the bank and needed to borrow $1 million. I had only operated my business at that time for 7 years. It seemed very cumbersome then. I did go to several banks. One of the things I remember was the larger banks felt more secure underwriting one of those loans. The smaller banks were very fearful of those loans. Proudly today, I've paid that loan off, and I'm not in the situation where it's as important to, or I need the funding from SBA, but I have taken personal funds out to secure my business and grow it forward today, and it's just something I found you have to do.
Very good. Mr. Bales, you had a number of comments with regards to some concerns you had with the regulations, especially the health insurance one at 50 and the VAT tax. Would you like to elaborate on that just a little bit? Because sure. I think those are important things that are out there right now that are affecting a lot of small businesses we've heard about today as well.
Well, with the health care bill, one of my biggest concerns is the mandatory opt-in. Right now, we provide health insurance coverage for our employees and pay for most of it. With the mandatory opt-in, they automatically have to enroll and then de-enroll, and then we pay a penalty. And there's nothing saying that once this is passed that you can amend that and raise that penalty. And so right now, the way it looks is that it would actually be less expensive for us to just pay the penalties and not offer any health care coverage, which I don't really want to do. I don't think that's the right thing to do, but we have to do what makes economic sense. And so from my honestly limited understanding of the bill, I just don't think, I am concerned with what could happen in the future with amendment to it or raising penalties or changes that, like I said, amendments within the bill in the future. It's easier to change once it's passed.
How would the VAT tax affect your business, or what do you see the problems or the pluses or minuses with it?
Well, if you take a commercial construction job, you have so many different layers of value-added tax. You have a raw material supplier. You have somebody who converts it into another type of material. You have somebody who distributes it. You have somebody who retails it. Then you have somebody who is, let's say, a general contractor. And if there's a tax on every level of value that's added in 7 or 8 steps, that's going to make the cost of a commercial project outrageous and probably not even a feasible way of doing business. So if you're going to have commercial construction in the future, you're going to either have to completely change the way that you do business and vertically integrate a business, or you're going to have to figure out other ways to reduce costs and take lower margins or whatever it happens to be. But I think that'd be detrimental to large projects.
Something that a lot of small business people, especially farmers as well as small business folks, have talked to me about concern with is extension of the estate tax. And we haven't heard one question on that yet today. You know, this year the estate tax fell off, and next year is supposed to go back unless we extend it to $1 million and 55% of everything over that. Most of all of you are young enough that it may not be something that you're considering yet. But is that starting to enter into your plans as you start getting down the road here and your companies start building? I know most of you don't look like you're as gray-headed as I am, so it's probably not a problem for you yet. But I know as we gauge a little bit and we start looking a little bit down the road, what our families may have to do or what our business partners may have to do with this entity that we've created here, this wonderful business that we have. If you start looking at that, is that a concern at all?
Coming from an estate planning background, I know it's a concern for a lot of people. I know it is a concern for me. And being young is a good time to start planning. Since I'm out of practice, I can say that everybody should do an estate plan. But it is something that if you're not concerned with, you should be concerned with. But yeah, the levels do concern me because that affects how you have to plan. So yeah, that's crossed my mind.
Anybody else? You guys thought about it at all, or you're still trying to figure out how to make a buck and grow the company? And you know, Mr. Greeley, he's barely 40 years old here. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. But anybody else have any concerns about it, or you thought about it at all, or is it not something you're working on?
Well, maybe I could just jump in real quickly. I just turned 46 last week, so I start to, as I get older and I get more gray hair, when I look in the mirror, I start to think about those things. And specifically on what you're talking about, the estate planning part of it, I haven't really, because I've been so focused on building our business and addressing the needs from day to day. But I haven't really thought about it in any great detail. But I know that's something I'll need to do shortly.
Okay.
Actually, I probably am your age. I have grandchildren and children over 30. We are currently working on it with our legal counsel. So, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Grinley?
I have. Currently, I have advisors, financial guys that work with me on that planning, and we've addressed the issue of how that's changed over the past 5 years and how it's an ongoing basis, and we have to account for that in the future.
So you incur new attorney costs, new accounting costs every year just to try and comply with and try to make sure that you don't wind up getting, caught here with the law changing and
We do. Yes.
uncertainty of it. Mr. Flynn, any comment?
We are concerned about these issues and other issues like it. Insurance in the event of a untimely death. These are additional costs on the business where we have to ensure a orderly transfer. If something like that were to happen, that has another impact of growing older is concerns along those lines to make sure that insurance is in place to cover that should that happen. But yeah, we're also very much focused on our current situation, and we'll look at that issue along with other issues as we're advised to do so.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.